Thanks everybody for being here. Looking forward to 2025 season. Head coach going into year 3. Very excited about taking a step as a head coach and being a better head coach. 130th team in our program history. Looking at the position coaches, out of the 8 spots we have, 6 guys are new. 2 of them were promoted from within, and 4 guys came from outside the program. Roster-wise, had nobody leave this past season from a transfer portal standpoint. Really excited about the leadership and the nucleus that we have. 3rd recruiting class. Feel that we got some depth at all of the positions, and couldn't be more excited to get to work with the guys and the team.
Coach, can you tell me a little bit more about your coaching staff?
Yeah, it started on the offensive side of the ball. Caden Murphy is coming from Midland University. He's been at the Division I level for 7 years. The last 2 he was at Midland University running the offense and coaching the quarterbacks. Prior to that, he was at Butler for a year coaching the quarterbacks, and 2 years before that was at Temple on the defensive side of the ball, and then before that he was at Northern Illinois for 4 years. So good experience at the highest level. Running backs coach is Bryce Kenzie. He played at Lakeland University. He's been around the block a little bit at the D3 level and took a pay cut to come here and be our running back coach. He also competed at a high level and had a tryout with the New Orleans Saints. Alec Ogden's our receivers coach, who was our quarterback back in 2023. Alec played receiver at the Division I level for 3 years and was also a quarterback at the scholarship level. Mike Martis was promoted from within. He's been in the staff the last 2 years in the offensive line room. We'll help him there. He played tight end at Indiana State, so he's got good knowledge and good experience in the tight end space. And then on the last guy on the offensive side of the ball is Miles Hookstead, who's coming from Dubuque, who's been a coach for going on his 13th year, 12th or 13th year, 8 years as an offensive coordinator, and couldn't be more excited for him to be leading our offensive line room. On the defensive side of the ball, Ryan Cortez is back in the coordinating role, coaching the D-line. Bo Martin's coaching the linebackers like he has the last so many years. And then Bryce Cross we were able to bring in from Winona State, who played Division I football at Western Illinois. So looking forward to working with them, growing with them, and I think we got our foundation set pretty well in spring ball, and then we were able to build off of that this fall so far, and humble and hungry, I think, is the staff, and they're ready to go to work.
Talking about being humble and hungry, I've said this to the guys that I saw when the preseason ranks came out to see Whitewater at number 4. It's weird to me being here this long. Is it weird to you to see that? And is there kind of this built-in chip for these guys to kind of say, hey, this is not where Whitewater football belongs. It belongs on the top, and this is where we're going to be at the end of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think being around this place for a while, we've never really used the preseason ranking or whether you're number 1 or not as motivation. Coach Breswitz spoke to the team earlier this week, and he did mention that. I haven't brought that up to the team yet, but I think you're just excited for the opportunity. Whether you're doubted, whether you're whatever. I mean, just got to go at it one day at a time and try to go 1-0 every week. I believe in this team, believe in this roster, and we understand what happened last year. And you got 6-4 behavior, or you got 1-0 behavior, and we got to be about that 1-0 behavior.
Coach, you in your opening statement, you kind of talked about taking those steps to become a better head coach. What has that been like for you going into this season compared to coming into last season?
I think the organization and communication is where you got to start, but then crystal clear expectations, getting out of the way, letting guys coach, controlling your emotions, making sure that you're setting the example and being the standard for guys, whether it's game day or at practice. And I think there's a lot of other areas, but you just keep growing, and you realize mistakes are part of the journey. When you repeat them, that's your fault. So let's not repeat them, right? Let's fix those things that have happened, and I haven't done a good job the first 2 years, and let's be better year 3 for this staff and these players.
Would you characterize the offseason as far as the coaching staff turnover as tumultuous? You had to make some decisions on some previous coaches, and then some other coaches took different opportunities. Did it seem like every time you turned around, you were having to find somebody to put somewhere else in place of somebody else? That's a new challenge for you coming out of your first 2 years.
I mean, yeah, you talk with other coaches, head coaches, and you don't really know that until you become a head coach, that like hiring coaches is kind of the harder part of the job. And you try to be always ahead of it. You try to have a plan and look around the corner. But yeah, without a doubt, it was a whirlwind. It was, I think that word's probably fair there to say, Josh. But again, you try to get ahead of it. We had all our coaches in place for spring ball. All 16 of our practices had our entire staff here. So I think I got to give credit to our administration, our kinesiology department, our academic advising and admission, those dual roles that we have. Being at a place like Whitewater, there's a lot of support. So being able to work with some of them and be able to get these hires in and do it the right way, and HR allowed that transition, even though it was hard and challenging. And at the end of the day, it worked out well, and I think it was pretty smooth for the players, most importantly.
And Coach, you said in your opening statement that you guys know and understand what happened last year. What differences are you seeing from last year coming into this year with your players and your staff? And just overall, what differences are you seeing?
I think attention to detail, understanding the differences between being good and great are really, that margin of error which is really small. So, just being locked in and understanding we can't waste opportunities. You only get so many practices, you only get so many games, and we got to just make sure that we're taking advantage of all those meetings and our preparation and practice so that we can be the best team when we need to be on Saturdays. So I would say that maybe that sense of urgency is picked up a little bit as well. But again, this roster, I do think it's special, and they're locked in. Minimal distractions during fall camp. Not a lot of guys late at all. I don't want to put a number on it, but less than a handful of guys have quit, and that's not been what I've been used to at Whitewater in my first 2 years as well. So,
one of these new coaching additions, brand new coaching additions, is coaching the offense, Caden Murphy. What has he brought in from his prior experience? Is he kind of revamped the offense a little bit? Is he using some prior Warhawk offensive characteristics? What has he brought in as an offensive coordinator?
I think Caden does a really good job of having an identity and conviction in what he does, having a system and believing in it. From a carryover standpoint, I don't know how much there is in that, but they've done a really good job as a staff with Caden leading it, but getting the guys to, hey, here's what we're going to be about. This is what we do. Now let's go execute it. So run, pass, yeah, you'll see it all. The quarterback room, we'll run the quarterback a little bit. That's kind of some of his background, and I think we have the depth to do it. But our offensive line is probably our strength of our offense, so we're going to lean on them. And you got some not immaturity, but not a lot of experience at some of the other positions. So we got to make sure, we give those positions maturity and time to get caught up. But it's a new year, so it's a new team, and everybody's got that same song and dance.
So you mentioned that the offensive line is the strength of the offense. You got a lot of returners coming back, at least returning starters, including 3 seniors. How crucial is it to have a ton of starting experience returning to that group?
Yeah, I think it is critical. 2 guards that have played since sophomore year. You got 2 guys that are juniors battling at the center position. Tackles, there's 4 guys really fighting for it, and one of them is a senior. So to have that type of depth and experience at the offensive line, we'll see how things play out. But yeah, that makes you as an offensive coordinator probably sleep a little bit better at night, and as a head coach, same thing, right? You feel a little bit better going into a game when you know that you got a pretty good opportunity to control the line of scrimmage.
How has the transfer portal affected how you approach building this team? I know there's a couple of guys coming into the quarterback room. There's a bunch of other position groups that have new people. When you're looking at your roster and do you see holes that you might not be able to fill immediately with guys that are younger on the team or new recruits, and you say, okay, we got to go out and get a guy at this position or 2 guys to fill here? How has that been a challenge, and how different is it year in and year out in trying to find guys to add to this team outside of a recruiting class?
I think the transfer portal is great and an asset, and you got to use it for sure to leverage your roster and get the right people on the bus. but you got to make sure they're the right fit and they buy into how we go about it and what we're going to be. So I think we've really been able to add depth with the transfer portal. We'll see if there's a lot of starters coming out there. Can't quite give you that answer at the moment now, but I think from a depth standpoint, we've really solidified, whether it's the running back room, receiver room, the tight end room, and then all three layers on the defensive side of the ball with just making sure that if you're traveling 60 guys, you got 60 really good football players.
Coach, it's too bad your conference doesn't have any good teams in it. Is that tough like that, to not have any competition? No, but to have that week to week in the WIC, it's amazing what you guys go through every single week. It's amazing, isn't it?
Unbelievable. Our conference got to tip our cap to all the programs within the WIAC. I mean, great coaches, recruiting their tail off. Obviously, they're getting it done on the field, as you see the records coming out of last year. But that's what we signed up for, right? You're in a league that's very competitive week in and week out. And if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. So we got the best league in the country without a doubt, top to bottom. So let's go out there and see how good we can be and try to go 1-0 each week. So without a doubt, the respect is there. It's always been there. But at this moment right now, right, everybody's kind of elevated and took their programs to a new level. So the challenge and that margin for error is so small. So paying attention to the details, having a little sense of urgency to get things done the right way is going to be very critical this year.
You also had the unique opportunity to not only coach Burke, but you played there. What's that experience like to play there either on a Friday night or on a Saturday, or it's with 20,000 people screaming? It's got to be crazy.
Yeah, Perkins Stadium's special. If you haven't experienced it, you got to come check it out. Division III football, Division II football, D1 AA. Not a lot of game day experiences like here in Whitewater on Saturdays at the Perk. And we couldn't thank our supporters. We couldn't thank our fans, our parents, all those Warhawks out there that come and check us out. September 6th, be there, because it's going to be rocking and rolling, and it's quite the game day experience.
Can you talk to me about the quarterback situation and what process you guys will take to determine a week 1 starter?
Oh, I didn't think you were going to ask that. No. Oh,
It took this long.
Yeah, we're intentional, right? You got 3 guys fighting for it, so you make sure that you give fair and balanced, right? You give them equal reps with the ones offense, with the one O-line, the one skill. Then you just are very strategic as you go through fall camp so that everybody's getting their fair shot. And, Coach Murphy does an unbelievable job. He watches, he tracks it. He's got statistical metrics, doesn't necessarily share that with the players, but there's a lot of angles that we use to measure that room. The quarterback position, it's really about making smart decisions. When you got a lot of talent around you, 2nd and 7, what are you doing? Are you finding a way to get it to 3rd and short, 3rd and manageable, or are you, being a little bit? So there's just so many factors that go into that position, but we're very intentional about making sure all the guys get a good opportunity and a good fair shake at it. And it ain't going to be easy to make a decision, but, we'll have that for you.
Are you feel comfortable saying the 3 names, or do you not want to?
Yeah, I mean, Jake Frannel, Aiden Lucirio, how do I say that? Lucirio?
I don't know yet. We just got pronunciations.
Yeah, Lucirio, Aiden
We're
Lucirio.
sure to have that on Saturday.
And I'm just butchering it, and I should. Aiden Lucirio, and then got Justin Klinkner.
Okay.
So those have been the guys that have really coming out of spring ball and who we've been focusing on this fall camp.
Everybody's getting fair shots.
Yep.
Who has the final call of the starter? Is it Coach Murphy or is it you?
I mean, I think it's got to be me. It's got to be me.
All right, is that, are you recording that?
I got it.
If we
A lot's been made in the years past about your non-conference schedule, whether it's St. John's, John Carroll, combination of Mary Hardin, Baylor. Haven't heard a whole lot about that this year. You got Carleton coming in week 1, another trip to Belton, and then St. Xavier in between. What's the challenge in trying to line up teams either in Division III, if you're going to dip into NAIA? Is travel cost, becoming more of an issue? Finding teams that want to play a program like Whitewater, is that a continual thing you're always looking at?
Absolutely. It's all the above, Josh. And there's some teams in our league this year that don't have 10 games because of that. So you're always trying to be ahead of it. Traveling to Texas is really hard on the budget, and makes it really challenging, but you got to get a 10th game for the players. And that is quite the experience to be able to go down there and take that on. And we had an awesome trip back in 2023, and we were able to come out on top, and we want to do that again this year. But Carleton was able to jump on the schedule, which was awesome. St. Xavier, be able to get them on the schedule, which was awesome. Hopefully our conference can do some things to help us within the league to not have to look for a week 3 bye game. So we'll see about that. But scheduling at Whitewater has been hard. Colleagues in the league that I've, coaches, I talk with them a lot, and some of that advice was make sure you get that non-conference game solidified early on, so you can not have to worry about that during them summer months. But that's the nature of the beast, and that's my responsibility as leading this program, and I'll continue to do it to the best of my ability. But glad to have it set for this year.
Back to Coach Murphy, when you hired him, did you say this is what our mentality is and can you fit into it? Or did he say, this is what I do, and you said, you're my man? How much of that was which one? You
start off open, cupboards open, you hear, you listen. Oh, I like that. Oh, I like that. Then you dive a little bit deeper, before you sign a dotted line or put the verbal handshake out there. You just make sure it's the right fit and right aligned. And without a doubt, you could sense that from the jump. How Coach Murphy got on the radar was a colleague that I coached with that referenced him, who I trusted, and he vouched for him. And we'll see how things shake out, but I'm very confident, very excited for Coach Murphy and his offense that he's going to put on the field this fall.
Outstanding.
Coach, you had a handful of games last year that were one-score games, very, very close. How do you guys address that late game execution, making sure you're finishing plays and coming out on top?
Training, coaching, teaching, working at it. That 2-minute drill. Making sure you're putting guys in those situations and they're getting exposed, and then you film it, watch it, fix it. So, that's probably the biggest thing we've emphasized. We worked on it through spring ball. We've put a lot of work into this fall camp, and we got to just continue to do it throughout the fall. And
the rotation of kickers, again, have to tell me who it is, but is there somebody
Seth Adams, our kicker.
He's going to be?
Yeah.
Okay. Then that's a name we're familiar with. And
yes. So Seth's with our program. Last year as a freshman, brought a lot of guys in, right? Seth didn't blink. Seth didn't flinch, didn't want to leave. You look at the quarterback room, Justin Klinkner, right? Brought some transfers in, didn't flinch, didn't want to leave, right? I think there's a lot of that character on this team that's going to embrace competition and attack it face head on and say, all right, let's see who's the best guy and go get it. And Seth's done that. He attacked this summer, worked his tail off. He's got a very strong leg. He's super athletic, can throw the ball, can kick the ball.
Wait, we're putting a fake in that? I shut it off. Well, we tell Gladfield that now.
We didn't get many. We had all of our punts last year. We had 2 rushes all year because of our formations and the uniqueness of how we punt the ball. So, which is intentional, right? You lighten the pass or the punt rush. That's usually good for the punt team.
What kind of culture are you seeing coming from the players coming from last year, spring ball and fall camp, coming into this season? What kind of culture are they kind of cultivating for themselves and for the younger guys who maybe aren't starting or are playing on JV? What are they doing for those players that you see?
We talk about loving the team, being on time and prepared, and then pounding the rock. And when you start worrying about where you are on the depth chart and you start worrying about some of those things that aren't really in your control, usually doesn't make you a fit for this team. We want you to focus on loving the team, being on time and prepared, and then going to work to pound the rock. So I think that's our culture, right? I think we got a bunch of dudes that they care about each other. They're serious about this. They want to be the best. They want to go out there and they're going to be confident, right? We're going to feel good about taking that field and be able to go 1-0 because of how they work, and because how they go about it day in and day out. And as I alluded earlier, we haven't had a lot of guys late. You don't have a lot of guys missing meals and distractions like that, and that's because of the environment that's set by the seniors and upperclassmen, right? Your leaders create the culture drives the behavior, and the behaviors that you do are going to give you the results that you want. So I think we're in a good spot because of the players and the leadership we have on this team.
We're going off that a little bit with the captains. I don't know if they've officially been named or not, but how have the captains stepped up in their role individually?
You right there, right? We haven't set captains. We got 12 guys that have are part of our football leadership council that have submitted a resume to be a captain, and they've just done an unbelievable job of setting the environment, right? Setting the what do you allow, right? How are you influencing this team? What type of behaviors are you going to let happen, and what type of behaviors are we going to nip in the butt? And yeah, we'll have to make a decision. We'll make it on Friday who our captains will be, and that's going to be very hard because there's 12 candidates that have really done a great job of leading this team and putting us in a good spot.
What are on those resumes if you're going to apply to be a captain? What do you got to put down on paper?
Whatever you think. You know, a lot of it would be, you know, I've never missed a lift. I've never been late to a practice. I've played, you know, in so many games, or I've been an all-conference player. Could be your GPA or maybe some extracurricular activities that you've done outside of the field. Didn't really get them a lot of parameters on it, but you want to be a captain? Okay, well, why would your teammates want you to be a captain? What have you done? And it's pretty impressive. This is a special group. That was Coach Hookstead idea. I didn't come up with it. So
you've been coaching with Coach Cortez for a while, and now he's going to take on the defensive coordinator position. How does it feel, not just as a coach, but as the connection that you two have? How does it feel to, in his 11th season, make his way up through the ranks and now be defensive coordinator with the team?
Yeah, so Coach Cortez, my first year coaching linebackers, 09, he was a freshman in that room. So him and I go back, and he's a heck of a coach. I mean, you look at our D-line and how good they've been. It's because they've been developed, they've been recruited, they've been retained. He just does an unbelievable job of setting a standard for how those D linemen play, and it's pretty impressive. So for him to be able to do that for the whole defense, looking forward to that as well. You know, Coach Martin, I coach Coach Martin as a linebacker, and he's been a part of the program as well. So him and Ryan have been together for many years. So the continuity there is very strong, and looking forward to the defense playing this fall.
Could it get any busier for you guys and the coaching staff right now? If you follow the team on social media, you see recruits saying thank you for the offer, thank you for the call, thank you for the invitation. You guys are hitting the ground in the high school football season and have been for the last couple of weeks, getting out while you're preparing for the season. That's got to be pretty intense while you're trying to get ready and also build for the future.
Recruit every day, coach every rep. That's kind of a mantra we have as a staff. Every day we want to make an action for recruiting, multiple actions, and then when we're out there, we're coaching every rep. So coming out of last year with that type of record, you know, recruiting, you know what, was a little bit more challenging. But we invested a little bit more into it. We've grown in that area, and glad you asked that question, Josh, because that means it's, I guess it's being noticed. But we're intentional about investing more in recruiting. And nowadays, your film's online, easily accessible. Nowadays, you can get in contact and get communicated with a recruit instantly. So because of social media and all those things, so we wanted to invest more in recruiting because we know how important that is to winning games on Saturdays.
Coach, you want to wrap it up with just one more comment on week 1 in Carlton?
Looking forward to week 1, home game. Perkins Stadium should have a great crowd. Looking forward to getting this team out there. Looking forward to seeing the offense and the defense and these players go out there and compete their tails off. Coach Tom Jernell's a great coach. I've known him for many years, who's the head coach at Carlton. There'll be a very well-coached program. They're going to be very disciplined, and there'll be a challenge. So we're going to have to play well to come out on top, but hope to see everybody out there and looking forward to a great 2025 season.